శ్రీ పీవీజీకి నా హృదయపూర్వక నివాళులు సమర్పిస్తున్నాను. పీవీజీ జయంతిని తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర కార్యక్రమంగా నిర్వహిస్తున్నందుకు నాకు చాలా ఆనందంగా ఉంది. దానికి కేసీఆర్ గారికి ఆయన ప్రభుత్వంకి ధన్యవాదాలు చెప్పగలుగుతున్నాను. భారతీయ రాజకీయ చిత్రపటంలో పీవీజీ లాంటి వ్యక్తి చాలా అరుదుగా కనిపిస్తారు. భారత స్వాతంత్ర్య పోరాటంలో క్విట్ ఇండియా ఉద్యమంలో పీవీజీ పాల్గొన్నారు. ఆ తర్వాత ఏ పదవి ఆయన ఆక్యుపై చేయలేదు. ఎమ్మెల్యేగా, ఎంపీగా, రాష్ట్ర మంత్రిగా, ముఖ్యమంత్రిగా, కేంద్ర మంత్రిగా, మన దేశానికి తోలి తెలుగు ప్రధానమంత్రిగా తెలుగు వారికి, దేశ ప్రజలందరికీ శ్రీ పివి ఎన్నలేని సేవలు అందించారు. On the few occasions that I have had the pleasure of interacting with Sri P.V Narasimha Rao, I saw in him a multifaceted personality. Many of you in this gathering have probably known him as a colleague in politics or a colleague in party, but I have had the pleasure of knowing him as a Prime Minister of this country, as a bureaucrat, man who took bureaucratic decisions, and of all, a perfect human being. If one has to see a human being, I think one has to see Mr. P.V Narasimha Rao very closely. He was a Sahitya Ratna in Hindi, and was closely associated with the Dakshina Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha over several decades. His fluency in various languages was a hallmark of Mr. P.V Narasimha Rao. Once I recall when we had been to the United States of America, when he was addressing the Senate in the United States, and after his speech, when he opened up the forum for questions, a number of questions were raised. And one kept wondering how was PVG going to handle those questions. And you'll be amazed to see that every question he answered back with a question quoting from American history only. He did not take to anything else. And at the end of it, the senators did not know what to ask him. And that was the type of repertory which Mr. Narasimha Rao was used to be. On one occasion when I wanted to push through some proposal and I requested him, sir, this paper is pending with the Honorable Prime Minister for quite some time now. His answer was, Narasimhan, my indecision is a conscious decision. So I had nothing to say. Once he said my indecision is a conscious decision, with that he had closed all avenues for even my future queries. Whenever I had some problem, I had to start off saying, sir, I know your indecision is a very conscious decision, but please, in this case, could the decision start moving into a decision from indecision? And such was the man's sense of humor. I mean, he would sort of use his sense of humor and completely finish you off and not allow you to take anything further. And a wonderful human being, because I have been with him. I had the privilege of being on a number of foreign tours with Mr. Narasimha Rao. And anywhere we went, he would sort of ensure that all of us were comfortable. He would always ask, Ani Baga Unnara? That the Baga Unnara was his standard question of Mr. Narasimha. Whenever we used to, among ourselves, in a foreign tour, we would talk to each other, we'll say Baga Unnara. First we'll say Baga Unnara. And that is how we used to refer to Mr. Narasimha Rao. He is a great man. And of course, like most others, he wielded his pen with aplomb. In the 40s, he edited a Telugu weekly Kakatiya Patrika, along with his cousin Pamlapati Sadashiva Rao, who was also a multifaceted genius, donning the mantle of art, etc. Pradhani Ayyaka, Tulisariga, Rashtaniki Vachina, Sri P.V. Annati Samaveshamlo, Deshaniki Raja, Talliki Kodukega, Anni Adigaru. I think this is something which we all have to remember in life. We all lose our balance once we come to a particular position in life. We forget our past. Our feet is no longer on the ground. But here was a man whose feet was always on the ground. And when he said, Dilli ke Raja, Kani Talli ke Kodukega ante, what you are saying that please remember that your feet has to be on the ground. You may be a Prime Minister today. You may be the President. You may be whatever you are to occupy, whatever position you may be occupying today. But please remember that ultimately you are a human being like anybody else and your feet has to be on the ground. And this is the way he could sort of put across his ideas. And there was nothing that one could do thereafter to sort of say anything. He was a man with great ideals, a multifaceted personality, and a great lover of Ayurveda.
మొత్తం భారతదేశంలోనే మొట్టమొదటి ముఖ్యమంత్రిగా భూ సంస్కరణల చట్టాన్ని అమలు చేసి చూపించింది, దేశానికి మార్గదర్శనం చేసింది కూడా పివి నరసింహారావు గారు అని చెప్పడంలో ఎటువంటి అతిశయోక్తి లేదు, అది సందేహం లేదు.